What's up, Fortnite Hood? It's Fortnite Fridays, and that means you get to spend some time with me. And today, we're gonna find out if I have a secret talent. Do I? Maybe? Alright kids, as advertised, it's Fortnite Fridays. We're gonna find out if I have a secret talent. If I do have a secret talent, let me just tell you right now, it's probably going to be cooking. I consider myself a damn fine cook. And today, I'm going to show you how to make something super easy, but super delicious. Especially if you like Italian food like I do. So, to start with, let me show you what you're going to need. For this dish, we're going to need a few simple things. First off, we're going to need some Italian sausage. The Jimmy Dean variety will do, because all we're going to do is we're going to brown the sausage and put it in our pasta sauce. Some sweet tomato basil ragu will do just fine for this project, along with a little Parmesan garlic blend. Found this at the store. I've never actually tried it, so we're going to give it a go today. I live near a Publix, so we're going to use some Publix brand garlic and herb goat cheese. That's going to go in our sauce. It's going to help create that nice little creamy base that we've got there. We're going to use some whole grain pasta for this. Some Mueller's, 100% whole grain as a matter of fact. Mueller's, just send me a check for the promo. Same thing with ragu and Jimmy Dean. And Bertolli, because we're going to use some extra virgin olive oil to help with that pasta. Make sure it doesn't stick together. And then McCormick and Lowry's. We're going to use a little bit of onion powder and a little bit of garlic powder on our meat. That's about it for the seasoning. It's going to be real simple. Now that we know what we need to start cooking with, at least as far as ingredients go, we of course need the pots and pans and the colander to drain the meat eventually and the pasta. However, I've already got all that laid out. We also need to clean our cooking surfaces because you never know what's been on your cooking surfaces in between cooking sessions, so always clean them just so you don't cross-contaminate food. I've already done that, so we're going to get to cooking. Okay kids, to start with, we're going to get some water ready. It's not at a boil yet, but I've already added in the extra virgin olive oil and salted the water a little bit because that's what we're going to be putting our pasta in. So once it does come to boil, obviously we'll add the pasta. In the meantime, I'm going ahead and starting to brown my sausage. Now I took that little bun of sausage basically that they have it wrapped in, and I cut it in half. Makes it easier to brown because a lot of times in the middle it's still a little bit frozen. So we'll go ahead and we'll start browning that up. Alright kids, our pork is starting to brown up here nicely. It's looking good. I've already added a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder. Now I use a coarse ground garlic powder. Adds a little bit more robust garlic flavor to it, which I like. That's really up to you. Now unlike ground beef, which tends to be a little bit fattier, ground sausage, of course between the pork product, is not going to be quite as fatty. So whether you want to drain this meat at the end of it, you see there, that's going to be really up to you. I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. This batch, because it's not overly fatty, I probably will not before I add in my sauce. But again, it's all going to be up to you. Now I'm cooking this on about 8 on my stove, so that's going to vary by you, but you don't want to cook it at the highest temp, otherwise you could burn it really, really easily. Alright, our ground beef has browned up nicely. Big thumbs up there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it down to a low simmer. And as I said, I'm not actually going to drain this one because the little bit of fat from the meat is not producing too much oil in there. So I'm not really going to worry about it. You can if you want. With a ground beef I would. Ground sausage, not an issue. We're going to turn this down and we're going to go ahead and add our sauce. Okay, we've got our sauce added in now to our ground sausage. We're giving it a stir. The temp's still coming down, so it's going to bubble a little bit. Our water is finally almost to a rolling boil, so we can add that pasta in. But that's okay, because right now, we really want to let this sauce simmer down a little bit. See how it's a little watery still? That's pretty much natural with any pasta sauce. You really kind of want to let it thicken up a little bit, so you're going to want to let it simmer. The more it simmers, the more it'll thicken up. So you'll evaporate some of that water. In the meantime, though, we are going to go ahead and add in this nice Publix deli brand, if you can see it there, garlic and herb goat cheese. We're going to add this in and we're going to give it a stir. You want to stir it constantly because you don't want it to scorch. Still being hot, it may scorch a little bit if you do not stir it. So make sure that you continue to stir this in and blend it in nicely. It will melt and distribute evenly throughout your sauce. And this is going to be really one of the best parts of this dish. Alright kid, pasta is on to boil. Finally. We're going to be cooking that about 9 to 10 minutes because we want it a little bit al dente, so we're firmer pasta. We're going to do that, make sure we stir that every now and again. And then we've still got our pasta, or should I say our sauce, which is starting to cool down a little bit, being on that hot, hot eye. You notice the change in color though. That's for putting that goat cheese in. It's giving us almost a vodka sauce type color. So, just continue to stir that. Do not let it sit too long without being stirred. And it should be ready by the time our pasta is up. Now, one thing I want to mention while this is continuing to cook is that when you're done with your pasta and you're going to drain it, if you want to keep your pasta al dente and a little bit firm, you should probably rinse it in a cool water, because that'll stop the cooking process. If you don't, then the cooking process will still continue for a few minutes, so when you come back for more pasta, your pasta is going to be a little bit more cooked and it's not going to be as firm. It's just a little trick of the trade there. Again, continue to stir this pasta sauce. As soon as this pasta is ready, we're going to be good to go. Now you also can keep a little extra goat cheese on the side if you will. Maybe buy a little second block of it, and you can garnish it. Or you can leave the goat cheese out altogether from the sauce and then just cut off pieces of it and let people add it individually into their own sauce and their own pasta as much as they like. That's really going to be up to you. I prefer to do it the way that I've showed you. Okay kids, the pasta's done. I've gone ahead and I've drained it, and as I told you earlier, I particularly rinse mine with some cold water because I like it al dente. I like it to stay that way, so I rinse it with the cold water to stop the cooking process. The sauce is ready as well, but we already knew that. But the final touch is, of course, presentation. Now I've gone ahead and done that, so let's take a look. Our pasta right there. It is topped, it is garnished with a little bit of that Parmesan that I was telling you about in the container earlier that we're trying, and some parsley in there, some chopped parsley. So there's your presentation, nice white bowl, and it's going to be delicious. Now one thing that I didn't tell you is I also tend to toss the pasta with the ground Parmesan cheese before I top it, and then I top the sauce as well. It's a personal preference. I like that because the cheese sticks to the wet pasta, but you don't have to do it like that. Again, be creative with this and put your own flair on it, and it should turn out delicious. So guys, I appreciate you watching this video, watching me cook. That's my secret talent. This dish is delicious. You should try it. Leave some comments below if you do, and let me know what you think of it, or what maybe you altered in the recipe, maybe things that you added or took away. Up to you, but give it a try and let us know. We'd love to hear back from you. Again, click a like if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate it. And I'll see you in a fortnight. Later.